The peace of the Egyptian desert, a story of serenity. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the endless expanse of sand, Senate, a weary traveler, sought refuge beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient acacia tree. Its gnarled limbs reached wide, providing her with a perfect shade as the desert began its transition from the warmth of day to the cool embrace of night. The desert stretched out before her in a vast sea of golden sand, the stillness of the land only broken by the soft, rhythmic whisper of the wind. The winds, gentle but constant, moved the grains of sand in ripples, each small shift carrying with it the faint echo of a forgotten past. Whispers of ancient times, of those who had walked this land long before her. It was as if the desert itself was breathing, sharing its secrets with those patient enough to listen. Senate closed her eyes, the cool evening breeze brushing against her skin like a soft caress, carrying with it the faint, sweet scent of desert flowers. The earth beneath her feet felt warm and steady, grounding her in the moment. She could hear the distant call of a lone desert bird, its cry breaking the silence of the vast expanse, a sound that was both haunting and soothing. The world around her seemed to hold its breath in peaceful anticipation. The rhythmic rustle of the wind was like a lullaby, inviting her to surrender to its embrace. With each passing moment, Senate felt herself drawn deeper into the serenity of the desert. The quiet, vast space seemed to stretch endlessly, offering her the comfort of stillness, of calm, of peace. Her eyelids grew heavy as the wind's whispers lulled her into a state of rest. The warmth of the earth beneath her, the soft touch of the breeze, and the gentle song of the desert birds wrapped around her like a blanket. Slowly, her mind quieted, and her body relaxed, allowing the peaceful embrace of the desert to carry her into a deep, restful sleep. The desert had offered her its peace, and in return, she had surrendered herself to its timeless rhythm, letting the whispers of the wind guide her into dreams. Under the glow of a full moon, Kansu, a lone wanderer, found himself atop a tall desert dune, his body lying back against the cool sand. The sky above was a deep, velvety expanse, filled with countless twinkling stars, each one a distant beacon of light in the vast, eternal night. The moon hung like a silent sentinel, casting its silver radiance over the desert, turning the endless sands into a shimmering sea of pale light. The sand beneath him was soft and cool, the warmth of the day now a distant memory, leaving only the crisp chill of the evening air. As the moonlight spilled across the dunes, long shadows stretched out before him, their edges softened by the soft glow of the celestial light. The world seemed to quieten, as if the desert itself had paused to breathe. The cool breeze, tinged with the scent of desert flowers, drifted lazily across the land, carrying with it the faintest whispers of the earth. Each gust seemed to speak in a language Kansu could not understand, yet the calmness in their tone filled him with an unspoken sense of peace. Kansu's gaze lifted toward the heavens. The stars, brilliant and scattered across the sky like diamonds, seemed to guide him in silent constellations. He had always found solace in the night, in the stillness, in the way the universe appeared endless yet intimately close. The desert was his protector, and in its vastness, he had learned to trust that it would always lead him home. As the night deepened, the stillness of the world wrapped around him like a comforting blanket. The faint hum of the desert's nocturnal creatures, the soft rustling of unseen critters in the sand, the occasional call of a far-off bird blended into the rhythm of his breathing. With each inhalation and exhalation, his body seemed to align with the pulse of the desert. The land, the sky, the moon, they all moved in perfect harmony, a gentle rhythm that matched the beat of his heart. Kansu closed his eyes, feeling the cool night air caress his skin. The moonlight, like a soothing touch, wrapped him in its glow, filling him with a tranquil sense of being. The vast sky above him, the silent watch of the stars, and the desert's embrace seemed to fill him with peace, and his mind began to quiet. Slowly, his body relaxed, his thoughts fading away as the stillness of the desert overtook him. As the moon continued its steady journey across the sky, Kansa drifted deeper into sleep, carried on the gentle rhythm of the night. The stars remained his companions, the desert his protector, and in this quiet moment, he surrendered fully to the peace of the land. The desert had spoken its calming words, and he, in turn, let them lull him into a deep, peaceful slumber. As the sun's final rays dipped below the horizon, the desert began to settle into a quiet calm. Ammonius, a young boy, sat near the edge of a small oasis, his legs dangling in the cool water. The day's heat was fading, and the vast desert around him was transitioning into the serene coolness of evening. The once blistering sands were now soft and welcoming, and the air had turned fresh and cool, carrying with it the delicate scent of dates and palm fronds. The oasis before him was still, save for the gentle ripple of water moving lazily from the fountain. The fountain's soothing melody echoed through the desert, a peaceful sound that contrasted with the dryness of the land around it. Ammonius listened to the water, its rhythmic flow washing over him like a soft lullaby, coaxing him into a deeper sense of relaxation. The sky above him, now painted in shades of lavender and amber, seemed to mirror the calm of the desert, as if the world itself had exhaled, breathing deeply in unison. The breeze stirred gently, lifting the palm fronds nearby. Their rustling sound was soft, like a whisper, blending perfectly with the quiet hum of the evening. Each breath Ammonius took filled him with the coolness of the desert night, and the weight of the day seemed to fall away from him. He could feel the peace of the desert seeping into his bones, its stillness settling into his heart. The oasis, a sanctuary in the vastness of the desert, offered him a moment of respite from the world, a space where time seemed to stand still. As the stars began to twinkle in the clear sky, Ammonius closed his eyes. The world around him, the quiet murmur of the water, the rustling palms, the cool desert air, all of it seemed to wrap around him like a blanket, offering a sense of protection and comfort. The desert, with all its vastness and mystery, felt like a friend. The silence held no fear, only peace. With a deep breath, Ammonius let go, surrendering to the calm embrace of the desert. The sound of the water and the wind became a steady rhythm, the lullaby of the oasis guiding him into a deep, restful sleep. The desert had whispered its secrets to him, and now, wrapped in its arms, he drifted off into dreams as tranquil and endless as the land around him. The desert stretched out endlessly in every direction, a vast sea of sand under the embrace of the night sky. The caravan, weary from the day's journey, had come to rest in the heart of this silent wilderness. The soft glow of a campfire flickered in the cool air, casting gentle shadows across the circle of travelers. Camels lay quietly, their breath slow and steady, as if they too were lulled by the peaceful stillness of the desert. Nefru, one of the travelers, sat apart from the group, her gaze drawn upwards to the sky. The stars above were countless, twinkling brightly like scattered diamonds. The blackness of the night was so deep, it felt infinite. She marveled at the vastness, the way the stars seemed to stretch forever, filling every inch of the sky. It was as though the universe itself was watching over her, wrapping her in its eternal embrace. The air around her was cool, and the desert winds whispered softly, carrying with them the scent of sand and distant life. The rhythmic sound of the wind moving across the dunes seemed to blend seamlessly with the crackle of the fire, creating a gentle melody that soothed the soul. The fire's warmth was a comforting contrast to the chill of the night, but its light was soft, almost as though it too wished to be part of the tranquility surrounding Nefru. As she sat there, her mind quieted, and she felt a deep sense of connection to the land and the stars. The desert, though vast and seemingly empty, felt alive, pulsing with a quiet energy that Nefru could sense with every breath. The peaceful silence wrapped around her like a blanket, the rhythmic whisper of the wind and the soft sounds of the desert all melding together into a lullaby. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the serenity of the night fill her heart. With each passing moment, Nefru's body grew heavier, her thoughts drifting further away from the waking world. The campfire crackled softly in the background, its warmth a gentle reminder of the world she inhabited. But the desert, the stars, and the soft night air called to her. They invited her to rest, to surrender to the peaceful rhythm of the world around her. As she leaned back against a soft pile of sand, Nefru let out a long, contented sigh. The night sky, the stars, the wind, the fire, it all melted into one peaceful, harmonious symphony. Her breathing slowed, and soon the peacefulness of the desert had taken her entirely. Comforted by the serenity of the world and the silent watch of the stars above, she drifted off into a peaceful sleep, the soft lullaby of the desert night carrying her gently into dreams. As the sun began to dip beneath the horizon, the desert landscape was bathed in a fiery orange and red glow, the sky a canvas of vibrant colors that slowly shifted into the cooler tones of twilight. Tahar sat on the edge of the vast desert, his back against a large rock, his eyes fixed on the horizon as the last rays of daylight slowly faded away. The air, still warm from the heat of the day, began to cool as the desert transitioned into night. The desert was quiet, its usual stillness broken only by the gentle sighs of the wind, which seemed to carry with it something more, a faint melodic hum, soft and almost imperceptible. The sound was not like anything he had heard before, as though the very land itself was singing. It sung an ancient lullaby whispered through the ages. The wind, a constant companion in the desert, now felt as if it was cradling him, guiding him into a state of deep tranquility. Tahar closed his eyes and let the wind's melody wash over him. It was soothing, a deep, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate through the air, reverberating within his chest. Each note was gentle, but full of meaning, a connection to something ancient and eternal. The desert, with all its secrets, was singing to him, sharing its wisdom through this quiet, melodic hum. The air was cool now, the temperature dropping with the arrival of the night, but it felt refreshing against his skin, as if the desert itself was offering him a blanket of calm. The first stars of the evening began to appear, their soft light twinkling in the vast, open sky. They sparkled like jewels, their light a perfect match for the desert song, creating a harmonious symphony between the heavens above and the earth below. The cool breeze carried the scent of the desert, and the sound of the world around him seemed to fade away, leaving only the melody of the wind, each note wrapped around him, like a gentle hand guiding him toward peace. Tahar felt his body relax, his breathing slowing as he sank deeper into the serenity of the desert night. The hum of the wind, the warmth of the fading sun, the rising stars, all melded together into one perfect moment. He could feel the desert's energy flowing through him, its song reaching deep into his soul, calming and soothing him in a way that words could never express. With his eyes closed, he allowed himself to surrender completely to the desert's embrace. The song wrapped around him like a soft blanket, and the peaceful stillness of the night settled in. As the last traces of daylight disappeared, Tahar's mind wandered into a dreamlike state, the melody of the desert guiding him gently towards sleep. The quiet hum of the desert wind was the last sound he heard as he drifted off, a peaceful slumber taking him under the watchful gaze of the stars.